try to bring awareness to the underrepresented causes of the world. My name is Ibtesam Dames, and in today's speech, I will be discussing Wissam Nassar and some of his inspirations for becoming a photojournalism, as well as some of his experiences as a photojournalist, and later I will show some of his photos. Let's begin with some of his inspirations for becoming a photojournalist. Nassar was born in Gaza during a time of war. He was also one of 8 children in a working class family, so making ends meet during wartime was a bit difficult. However, his father was able to garner enough money together to purchase his son's first camera. With the means to take photos, Nassar was unstoppable. At the age of 18, he earned his Bachelor's of the Art degree at the University of Gaza. Unfortunately, they did not offer a photojournalism major, so he had to focus on online journalism. This is good because now it allows him to accompany some of his photos with articles that he writes himself. He continued to pursue online journalism by communicating with international photo agencies in 2003. He recognized that few areas in the world face the daily challenges and torments that Palestinian people do. He not only wanted to raise awareness for the war cause, but he wanted to show how Palestinians are strong and resilient people. Now let's continue with some of his experiences as a photojournalist. His career truly took off in 2014 when he began to be featured on the cover of Times. One moment in his career that he recognizes as a turning point would be when he met Samaya Hasna, which is a young 4-year-old girl who was separated from her family and was forced to be treated alone at the hospital. He recognized that she and many children like her don't have a voice, and he wanted to be that voice for them. According to Bird in Flight, his most unsettling and strong photos were taken during active wartime. These years were 2008, 2012, and 2014. His photos began to be featured all over the world in popular news outlets such as World Press Photos, New York Times, Al Jazeera, The Times UK, Focus Journalism, Zinhao, and more. He tries to respect their laws of objectiveness and therefore refuses to work for Hamas or Fatah, which are like Palestinian advocacy groups. Unfortunately, not everyone is too pleased with the fact that he's trying to raise awareness for the Palestinian cause. He's unable to leave the country because Israel refuses to grant him a visa. This is unfortunate because he likes to leave the country not only to gauge how much Palestinian support there is globally, but it also keeps him hopeful. Seeing how other countries function on a normal basis gives him hope for the future of Gaza. He tries to keep his photos as PG as possible. He doesn't want to traumatize his audience. Rather, he simply wants to raise awareness for the Palestinian cause. Clearly, he was exposed to his career all his life. Let's show some of his examples of his photos. Some of his photos try to bring awareness to the most terrifying parts of Palestinian lives. This photo shows a father mourning over the deceased body of his son. It puts a face to the real victims of the war cause and creates a feeling of sorrow in the audience. This next photo shows a young child trying to tend for his wounded donkey after an Israeli airstrike. It shows how not only is the war effort unsettlingly normalized for these children, but it also shows childhood innocence since he's just simply focused on trying to care for his wounded donkey. Nassar also tries to show how Palestinians persevere through the difficult challenges. This photo shows a woman trying to cook for her family using only candles after a power outage. On a brighter note, he also tries to show how Palestinians just continue on being strong people and living their lives. This first photo shows young teens participating in parkour in front of a demolished building. It shows that they were able to foster their talents and continue acting as normal teenagers despite the war effort. This next photo shows a young girl in a colorful lighted cart in front of a cartoon wall. It shows not only does it characterize childhood innocence, but it also shows the great sense of community that Palestinians have, considering that the community was able to come together to paint the background of the wall in order to put a smile on the face of the passerbyers. Nassar also tries to show how Palestinians maintain their culture during the wartime. This photo shows men praying in front of a toppled minaret, and it was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize in 2015. It shows how they keep their faith alive during these trying times. This next photo shows a man and his wife getting married in front of their tent home. It shows how they're grateful for the small things in life, because even though they're not able to have a big, extravagant wedding, they are grateful to have what they have. Overall, born and raised in Palestine, Nassar was always painfully aware of the trauma and hardships that Palestinians endure. Today I discussed Wissam Nassar and his inspirations for becoming a photojournalist, some of his experiences as a photojournalist, as well as explained some of his photos. Overall, Nassar represents a clear image of what it means to take a negative and turn it into something beneficiary and a positive. That was my speech on Wissam Nassar, and thank you for listening.